Bitcoin can actually fall down to 84K. I'm going to explain this next possible drop and even why I just lost a short trade, because yesterday we had prepared for a short trade. However, guys, just to be totally transparent, I literally lost that trade. However, I re-entered once Bitcoin had lost 92.5. I'm going to talk about the next possible trade, the short and the long, if we actually get the expected drop back to 84K, because as you can see, this is what exactly and precisely happened for the past 24 hours. Yesterday, guys, I literally made a video and also we went live and explained, guys, the possible idea of us maybe and actually getting a short trade. I spoke about when Bitcoin was like this. I told you guys that maybe, just maybe, if we go above 92.5K and then we see a fail to break, we see Bitcoin not being able to reclaim and hold on into 92.5K, then maybe I'm thinking about shorting the Bitcoin price right now. However, I'm going to admit that I took it quite early, to be honest, because I literally just saw Bitcoin give us a nice pump to above 92.3. I didn't quite wait for full hit of 92.5, and then I jumped into a short. However, I had a tight stop loss. As you can see, if I pull up the current price action, just to be totally transparent and truthful and show you that I'm also human, guys, I lose and also win trades sometimes, as you can see. So basically, I just waited. Basically, if I go on a lower time frame, I did not wait for a good enough confirmation. I understood that I'm entering quite early. However, to be honest, I just wanted to get into the trade. So basically, I waited for this to happen. As you can see on a lower time frame, I just was watching the price on the 5-minute time frame, and I saw this candle. We saw the New York session open. We saw a hit of liquidity. We basically just took all this liquidity. However, I did not stick to my rules. I didn't wait for a hit of 92.5, because had I waited for a full hit of 92.5K, I would have not shorted this, as you can see, but waited for a full reclaim of 92.5 and then avoided the short. However, I could have also then waited for a full failed to break, as you can see, failed to reclaim, and then us failing back again. So basically, I could have actually shorted. If you had shorted and you had a much wider stop loss, you can still actually be into the short. However, as you can see, I want to be totally truthful and transparent with you guys. Even though I got a little bit of profits into my new short, the previous one that I planned, I did actually lose. So I always want to be transparent, guys, with you by saying that even though I said something, I didn't quite follow it, and I also took a short that I lost money, so a little bit of money on, and I then re-entered, as you can see. However, right now, I think everybody would like to know how, or is it possible for actually Bitcoin to drop back down to 84K? Because if I go on a higher time frame, guys, I said, guys, that if we do not manage to reclaim 92.5K, my next expectations will be actually for lower, because as I told you guys, we literally do not have any single good support that would stop Bitcoin dropping from 92.5K down below to 84K. Even on the higher time frame, I pull up the daily time frame, we literally saw Bitcoin even previously, I think that was on during April the 20th, we saw a quick rise on Bitcoin from 84 all the way up to 92. And I said, guys, whenever we see inefficiency, by inefficiency I mean that whenever we see Bitcoin immediately pump within a certain area, we can always be expecting, or at least be waiting and not be totally blown away by if Bitcoin actually does the same thing but in reverse. So what I'm saying right now is just because Bitcoin yesterday did not manage to reclaim 92.5K, as you can see, if I pull up the 4-hour time frame, we actually got the perfect idea of not being able to actually reclaim 92.5K. And with that fact, I'm thinking, and I'm saying right now, that if Bitcoin still remains below 92.5K, I'm going to be waiting for lower. Hence why I even opened up a new short, and I'm still holding on into my previous short that was taken and is taken actually from 106.3. So I still got my perfect short to be had. Also, I still got my all-time high short to be had, but I also would have loved to be honest, just to get something extra in terms of a scalp trade, but just to keep it quite simple and actually not for everybody to not see it coming. I'm not saying that Bitcoin will go to 84K. However, yes, technically on a higher time frame, technicals do not care about about our feeling, guys. So just to keep it real, just because we had seen inefficiency in price, we had seen Bitcoin pump back in April from 84 to 92, we can also see it happen on the inverse, on the flip side. We can even see right now happen. And right now, just because I saw the inability to break and hold 92.5k yesterday, I'm even more convinced, or I wouldn't say convinced, but I'm even more prepared for the fact of maybe even a possible drop. Now, that does not mean that you should actually be selling Bitcoin, especially if you're an investor, if you're spot investing, if you have a long open, then maybe close it, but please do not randomly short, please do not randomly sell. I'm merely just stating the fact that just keep in mind that if we do not manage to go above 92.5k, and even if we do, by the way, guys, because obviously I wouldn't like to make it too complicated, but let's just say that Bitcoin actually for the next hours it claims 92.5k, then I would obviously lose the little scalp short that I opened up today morning. But I wouldn't say that 84 is out of the table, because obviously we can still see a pump if we manage to reclaim 92.5, even though the possible drop to 84 could be delayed. But we can still also be waiting maybe for an extra short trade above 97 and then take it all the way lower, so 80 to 84. So it's never that simple. It's never tell me where it's going exactly. I'll never be able to tell you where it's going exactly, but just have in mind, or keep in mind, that yesterday we saw the inability to break 92.5. As you can see, we literally wicked above the area. Even on the higher time frame, it looks even worse. On the daily time frame, we saw this daily candle unable to break above and hold 92.5k. Hence why I think that maybe the possibility of starting the drop could be actually starting right now, especially because we only have support below 85k, 84 to 82. Hence why I'm going to be cautious. Please do not take it as me telling you to sell, but at least do not randomly long the market, because I do not think that there's a sensible good idea to long right now. Hopefully stay cautious, guys, and also that would obviously take Ethereum along with it to much lower prices.